Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno, the founder of Real Men Real Style. Today we're going to be talking about waist suppression in a men's jacket. All right, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. By doing that, these videos will come right to you. In addition, if you like this, if you find it useful, I would appreciate it if you would like it down below. And last but not least, if you want to learn more about men's style, make sure to grab our free 47-page ebook. Every day I get thank yous, people telling me what they love about this ebook. I'm also going to link you an article which talks more about how to get your jacket adjusted when you go to a tailor. So this is the question that came in. Antonio, I just bought an off-the-rack navy blazer, and after reading your articles, I was glad to know what to ask the tailor for. Every man should know this. How exactly, though, should the waist be tailored? The tailor said he'll take some fabric off the back to make the jacket tighter, but I don't know if he's going to taper it exactly how I want it. I remember seeing pins all the way up the back of the jacket. Should I ask him to taper the waist more? How can I know if the waist, and the blazer as well, was tailored correctly? I've never had a properly fitted jacket before, so I'm not sure what I should be looking for, or if he even does a good job. All right, that was my friend Jesse. He's, I believe he's up north in Canada. And so Jesse is new into this game. And I also know Jesse is really, he's at a point where he's still very price conscious, and he really is putting a lot of time and investment into learning about men's style. And that's the first thing, is he knew what to ask for. He even has a pretty good idea of what to look for, but what Jesse doesn't know and he doesn't own is already a jacket that fits him really well. So he doesn't know what a good fitting jacket actually feels like and truly looks on his body. So my first point with this, Jesse, is that you're going to have to go with it. You're going to have to experiment, and you can't expect perfection the first time. Working with a tailor, it's like any type of business relationship. You've got to feel it out. You've got to go back and forth. And really, you want to plant the seeds for a long, fruitful relationship. So my first bit of advice is don't expect, I think in today's society, we've come to expect, companies like Google provide us amazing applications for free. And we come to expect that from a lot of other things, that we get them almost for free. You've got to expect, though, with a tailor, we're a bit more old school. And we can't read minds. We'll do the best we can. But it's really what you're doing is you're trading dollars for their time. So if you do need a second adjustment, expect to pay for this. But that's okay, because what you're looking to do is get this first jacket perfect. A good tailor, maybe he'll have to adjust it 2 times. There are some tailors that will get lucky and get it right the first time, but I can tell you, having worked with thousands of men and designed suits for them, even though I think I'm going to get it perfect and I look at the pictures and I think the fit's perfect, when a man puts on a jacket, it's a very personal thing. Fit is incredibly personal, and the tailor may look at you and he may think it looks perfect, but you had a different picture in your mind. And again, we're not mind readers. So you're going to have to put on that jacket, look at yourself in the mirror, and feel how that, see how that feels, and then ask for any adjustments you need. Now, if you came to me and as a custom clothier, I will provide those alterations again and again for free. But you came to this gentleman for the alterations, so you're going to have to pay for the second. Hopefully you won't have to pay for the third. Beyond that, he should be getting really close. You'll have to work that out with him, and it depends on the tailor. But expect to pay for the second round of alterations. But that's okay, because all of a sudden you now have a jacket that fits you really well. So the next time you go in to work with that tailor, you wear that jacket when you go see him again. That way he can remember, and he can also even measure that jacket and know, okay, this is what this gentleman wants. This is what this gentleman likes. So let's go and start. I'm going to start answering questions about how you should have what kind of waist suppression you should look for. And what does waist suppression even mean? So from your chest down to your waist to your hips, what we see as guys, we look around and yes, you notice that women have that hourglass figure. Well, to an extent, a healthy male somewhat has that, although his hips are not nearly as wide and the difference in his chest is more from the sides than in the front. Well, hopefully if you're a normal guy. Okay, I'm not going to go there. But the point is that if you have a larger chest and a smaller waist, then you want your jacket to reflect that. You don't want it to be cartoonish though, and you don't want to have your clothing fit so tight that it's starting to look feminine. So a good tailor is going to balance that. Most jackets are going to have, especially if it's, let's say you buy one that's got an athletic build, and if they say athletic build, oftentimes it doesn't mean that it's going to have more waist suppression. What that means is that the trousers that are paired with it are just going to be a little bit smaller. So don't fall for that. Be really careful. What you want to look for is if you have that athletic build, that very young man or a man that takes care of himself, masculine shape, then you want your jacket to somewhat reflect that. If you look on the jacket I'm wearing right here, you can occasionally see a bit of light right in here on the video. That's because this jacket isn't square. There is about a 4.5 to 6 inch drop. I have to actually pull this. I've got that variation with my jackets between the chest size and the waist size, even though on my body there's a little bit more. So it's actually a little bit looser in the waist area and it's a little bit closer fitting in the chest area. This is the fit I like and it's what I want to go for. But a man, he doesn't want to go for more than 8 inches of a drop, and that's where the difference between the chest and the stomach, again, you don't want that. If you laid the jacket out, you don't want that to be more than 8 inches, even if you're a bodybuilder. And I've got bodybuilders that come in and they literally have 12-inch drops. Now, I don't build the jacket exactly like that because it would come off as cartoonish. There's also the area of the hips, so the jacket is going to flare back out. Unlike women, men don't usually have wide hips. So with the thinner hips, you're going to have less of a flare out, but it's still going to be closer in size to the size of your chest. What you end up getting then is a little bit of that. Again, it's almost like the hourglass figure, not as extreme though as on a woman, but that little bit of indentation here in the area of the midsection, especially, again, you have to be in shape for this. It looks very healthy. It looks very masculine because what it does is it builds up the apparent size of the chest. So I'm not a huge guy, but my chest looks bigger. My shoulders look more broad when I wear a jacket that fits me properly. Now let's talk, I know that's more, and that works for thin men, that works for men that are in shape and take care of their bodies. And I could go into more detail. I'm not in this video about the structure of the jacket and other things. Again, we're going to talk about the waist suppression. But what if you're a larger guy? What if you're a little bit portly around the midsection? Well, then this is when you want to go for a more square look, because a square look is better than a round look. As a man, you do not want a round look. So what you're going to do is you want to make sure any jacket you try on fits you well in the shoulders and fits you in the chest area. And you can let out a little bit in the midsection, but the idea is to build up your top area a bit more to balance and to give you a more square look. So you're not simply because you have a little bit of excess material there, you're not going to be able to have any waist suppression, but that's not a bad thing. Again, it's better for you to have that square look than to have, than the round look. What you don't want to do is try to wear a jacket that is too small on you. That's always going to look bad. So when you, for a larger guy, when it comes to waist suppression, this isn't something he's going to have to worry about. Oftentimes, they're just looking for a jacket that's going to be able to button. If the jacket buttons fine here, you can actually have it brought in a little bit more in the chest. It's going to be okay to let the shoulders go out just a little bit more. You don't want them to make you look like a linebacker, but on the other hand, you want them to balance that midsection area. So hopefully that answers with waist suppression. Again, you don't want to go to an extreme, especially if you're a bodybuilder. If you're a bodybuilder and you're out there looking for a jacket, talk with a custom clothier, talk with someone that makes made to measure. Your life is just going to be so much easier. You're one of the hardest profiles to fit. If you're smaller and thin, then it's really a matter of just making sure that the chest and the shoulders fit properly, and you can have that midsection usually adjusted or brought in by about 2 inches. I'm going to close it by talking about kind of how much A made-to-measure jacket, such as what this gentleman has, can be adjusted. It depends on the skill of the tailor, but expect around 2 inches. And there are usually 3 spots on a jacket where they can bring it in. Most tailors or seamstresses or whoever you go to are going to try to just adjust it in the back. So there's a line usually down the back of a jacket, and they can usually bring it in about 1 inch there, and that will fix many problems. A lot of guys, when they're just asking for a bit, that 1 inch is going to be a big difference. And the tailors love it because they only have to open up the back of the jacket. It's very easy to cover up and hide if they make any errors or if they don't stitch it very well. What's harder, though, is if they want to get more than 1 inch, then they're going to have to start bringing in on the sides, because if you bring in 2 inches directly on the back, it's going to change the whole dynamics of the jacket and how it lays on your shoulders. So once you start asking for more than 1 inch, they have to start bringing it in on the sides. And if you start getting extreme, or if it's a really skilled tailor and he wants to balance the adjustment fully around the jacket, he's also going to bring it in if you have darts. So on my jackets, I've got a little dart here. The problem with the front dart area is that he may also have to move the pocket, and so it's a lot more work. Again, as you start to go closer to that 2 inch, I've seen it 2.5 inches on, or even 3 inches on a bigger jacket. Again, this has to do with proportion. If it's a really small jacket, expect it to be able to be adjusted less. If it's a huge jacket, you can adjust it more. Again, it's a kind of a proportion issue, but the more you want to have it adjusted, the more skill of the tailor you're going to need to find, and expect the higher the cost, because he's going to have to adjust it in more areas. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of waist suppression, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.